What's up, everybody? Can you hear me? Yo, 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 yo. Yo, can you hear me? 1 second. Testing, testing, testing. When I set up upstairs with him asleep down here, the second I sit down, he starts screaming, crying, wakes up. I come back downstairs, give him a bottle, falls back to sleep. I come back upstairs, try and hook up the camera. The camera's not working for some weird reason. Restart the computer. He wakes up completely down here. So I move everything down here. Battery dies. So a bunch of snafus here trying to get this all going with him. And, he actually has been fantastic today. I haven't really watched him too much today. It's really been Chelsea until the last few hours while she's been gone. But he's been fine. But little guy will be probably making a cameo at some point today. But who is going to be the main stake of what we talk about? Who's that going to be? Well, who's coming? Who's coming? Should I stay? Should I go? The old Clash classic. It's going on right now at LSU. You've got guys coming in who could be that next Mekhi Wingo, could be that next Mekhi Garner, and then there's guys leaving. You're seeing guys leaving also for the NFL draft, as you saw with Anthony Bradford becoming, I think, the 9th Tiger to leave, I believe it was. Let me double check that. 9th Tiger to leave for the NFL draft. Anthony Bradford, I believe, over 800 snaps this year. He showed a lot of that athletic promise that he always had. Coming out of Michigan, big, huge, tall, strapping offensive lineman out of, I believe, Muskegon, Michigan. Just absolute phenomenal talent. We always wondered, when was Anthony Bradford going to put it all together? When was Anthony Bradford going to deliver on his promise? Because we heard so much about him. Coach O, every press conference, Anthony Bradford's going to be one of the best offensive linemen here at LSU. You always heard it, didn't you? And Anthony Bradford came good. Anthony Bradford was fantastic. He had only over 200 snaps last year. I believe it was 259 snaps last year. Puts that all the way up over 800 this season. Incredible from Anthony Bradford. The numbers, as they are correct, 100%, not just off the top of my head, right at LSUOdyssey.com. We've got a for free article on Anthony Bradford going into the NFL draft. Next level analysis, in-depth statistics on his season. Only allowed 12 pressures, did allow 4 sacks, one of the highest on the team. Emory Jones was the highest on the team in sack allowance, but Anthony Bradford did allow 4 sacks. But in comparison to allowing 8 pressures over 250 snaps last season, and then allowing 12 over 800 this season, over 70 snaps at left tackle at one point, but most of them were at right guard. That's where he's going to make his money at the NFL level. Incredible from Anthony Bradford, but he is versatile as well. I feel like he really could have used another year at LSU, Anthony Bradford. 2019 title-winning veteran, He's a guy who had that ring on his finger. He only played 22 snaps in 2019, but he's a guy that this LSU offensive line really would have been so much better to have. I know everyone's going to say, we've got Garrett Dellinger. We've got this guy. We've got Cardell Thomas. We got Miles Frazier. We've got Fill in the blank, whoever you want to say. I don't think they're better than Anthony Bradford coming back for another year. Now, do you? But that's the reality of LSU. LSU football has always had this type of talent. And what happens is usually because there's so much talent ahead of them, you only see one full season out of these guys at their quantum, best, at their imagined best, 9 players have all declared for the NFL draft. Anthony Bradford, Jay Ward, Kayshon Boutte, Micah Baskerville, Ali Gay, Jaquelin Roy, B.J. Ojolari, Mekhi Garner, Dre Jenkins, Jure out of eligibility, I believe. Micah Baskerville out of eligibility for sure. Jay Ward had one more season he could have used, of course. All these guys did have the COVID year as well. I believe Micah Baskerville had used his. Dre Jenkins, I'm not sure if he had used his or not, but either way, there was other news that shocked everybody. I think it shocked everyone across LSU country. When someone who's very young on the team, someone who hadn't really gotten many snaps either, but someone who was very enthusiastic upon his arrival at LSU. When they kind of don't really feel that reciprocation, I'm not saying that this is right, this is what happened. I'm just saying this is their feelings. When they're not feeling that reciprocation, the portal's there for them. And freshman linebacker Demario Tolan, he exited for the transfer portal. Likely, going to Miami, Florida State. I'm not sure if that's already been announced, but at this point, it's sad that he left because he was earmarked for stardom at LSU. He's got the modern day speed to play the position, the linebacker position. He's got next level abilities. He always was saving our ass on special teams as well. He shined strongly on special teams, but that's where he stood out. But when, as we analyze in our article, the 2 new LSU departures right there on the homepage of LSUOdyssey.com, as you can see, we compare his snap count to West Weeks. Okay. He had 74 defensive snaps, Demario Tolan. 74 defensive snaps. West Weeks had 159. That's more than double the amount of Demario Tolan. Whether Tolan knew that, understood that, or was just highly courted by these Florida schools who were like, let's go chip away at these relationships we've got with these kids who are not getting playing time at schools because they're freshmen, obviously, and take advantage of that vulnerability in that moment. Maybe there's some of that at play, and that's kind of nasty, and that's what's been going on in recruiting. That's what's been going on in the transfer portal is a lot of taking advantage of old relationships, chipping away, saying, hey, remember how we were saying we're going to start you, and then this team also said they were going to start you, which is great. And we understood why you went for LSU because they said they were going to start you, but now you're on the bench. I'm not saying that they said they were going to start Demario Tolan. I'm just using that for an example. That's kind of what is going on. They're kind of chipping away at that. Hey, this is what they said. This is what we're saying. Come over here. Come find out again. Come join this roster and say goodbye to LSU because they're not playing you. Look at Harold Perkins. We could have done that with you here this season. That's what you saw with Demario Tolan, and it sucks because LSU were thin at linebacker going into the future. Thin at linebacker going into the future, and we really, really could have used Demario Tolan in the future. I just feel like when you have a player like Demario Tolan, you got to get him more than 74 snaps, right? Who am I to question the coaching staff at LSU? They know what they're doing way more than I ever could. in college football realm, even football, just as a whole, they know they could run circles around me, make me look like a fool. I'm aware of that. But you gotta find more snaps for Demario Tolan. You know, I mean, you gotta find more snaps for Demario Tolan. It's just like you gotta find more snaps for Harold Perkins when Harold Perkins wasn't playing much. Only 514 snaps for Harold Perkins. That's almost, I think, more than 300. I think Gray Brooks Jr. and Mekhi Wingo had more than 300 snaps than Harold Perkins, which shows that um, Harold Perkins was just not utilized as much either. You know, these guys kind of had to take a warming to some of these freshmen, unless you're Mason Taylor, of course, and you're tight end. Um, Maybe if Harold Perkins had been, a linebacker slash tight end, Demario Tolan linebacker slash tight end, maybe they got more playing time at first. But I think Demario Tolan, all joking aside, I think Demario Tolan saw the writing on the wall with Harold Perkins is going to be the standout guy. I was ignored, and he wanted to go home as well. I think that was a play too. I think he had strong relationships with Miami, with Florida State, with Florida, with all the other schools going after him. So I think, saw it as his opportunity to leave. I think maybe he thinks Greg Penn III has that spot really locked down. I don't understand that. I think it's a very this is one. Okay, here's the thing. Let me just say it this way. Usually, when a player transfers, and I, advise and talk with that player, or just even, in casual conversation with the player. I've never interviewed them. Just we've chit chatted a few times. No real strong relationship, outside of a few comments here and there. Even in that moment, it's always respect for the transfer decision, always. But when I feel it's not for like the best of that player, and I feel like they're making kind of an emotional reaction in a way, I kind of feel like I have to say something and be honest. If they want my opinion, I'm there to give it. I'm not just gonna just unsolicited just text people that type of stuff. But um, it's something I've thought. Why is he doing this? Why are they doing this? Why is he going back home when he has a starting spot basically there for him at LSU next season? Think about how thin we'd be at linebacker next year without Micah Baskerville. You basically have Tolan, Perkins, and Penn as your three. So even if he's worried about Greg Penn III being that top guy, Penn the third wouldn't even be in his way for a starting spot. And when I met Demario Tolan after the SEC title game, I will take full credit for this. It was my fault. I did say some things about they got to get you on the field, man. You look fantastic during special teams, and you're a fast dude. They got to get you on the field more. But there was nothing as far as animosity or towards LSU or anything like that from his family, from anyone. I didn't detect anything like we're going to transfer. But that's what happens to nowadays is it's not that they have to hate LSU to leave LSU. It's that there's another opportunity elsewhere. It's the nature, it's the business of college football now, and the players are active in that now. The players have an active stake. They have an active chance to dictate their future course, and you gotta be a little bit inspired by that because you know everything has a flip side to it. We opened this show talking about the news of this last week: LSU losing top guys, right? Well, LSU, I mean, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen with the Brian Kelly staff and what we've already seen? Of course, we were going to be bringing in a bunch of reinforcements. So, what does Robert Steeples do on Sunday? I don't know. What does he do? Well, on the homepage of LSUOdyssey.com, we've got the article right there for your viewing pleasure. Focuses on Robert Steeples bringing someone from a former Buckeye for the second straight off season. This is a college who think that they are DBU. Okay, Ohio State think that they are the real DBU. All right, and this is the second straight season we've taken one of their promising defensive backs right off their hands. Second straight off season. Sevyn Banks, and now J.K. Johnson. And guess where J.K. Johnson went to high school? He went to Robert Steeples, our cornerbacks coach's former high school, DeSmet High. He was a member of that 2019 state title winning team that made Robert Steeples National Coach of the Year. That helped Mekhi Wingo become the player he is today. That was a legendary team. And I believe Mac Markway was even a freshman on that team. I'm not 100% certain on that, but if not, he was in the next year at least on that team. But that was a season and a job that was so impressive. It catapulted Robert Steeples from the high school ranks to the NFL. When do you see that type of leap from a high school head coach to an NFL assistant? You never see that. Well, Robert Steeples achieved that after that impressive, unbelievable gig at DeSmet, and you're seeing now that he's back at LSU, him going and helping some of his DeSmet guys find some guidance in their career. This is 2 years for J.K. Johnson at Ohio State. And he had some moments. He had some playing time. 406 total snaps is a lot for a redshirt freshman in his second season with only 20 tackles. Appeared in 13 games for Ohio State, but it's not enough, and it's not where J.K. Johnson wants to be in his career. And Robert Steeples understood that. And Robert Steeples goes and grabs us an absolute fantastic killer on the outside. I mean, J.K. Johnson, 12 catches allowed out of 20 passes thrown his way, allowed 3 touchdowns, mostly in garbage time. The stats aren't really going to tell the tale. They're there for you, but just go watch the film. The film's a lot better than what we've seen. But this is once again Robert Steeples calling upon his St. Louis connections. This is a St. Louis kid coming back to LSU. There's kind of a St. Louis contingent coming here to LSU now. You got Markway, you had Wingo already here, and now you have this young man coming in here, J.K. Johnson. Trying to think of who else is from St. Louis on our team, but that's 3 guys already from St. Louis. I swear to God, we also recruited another DeSmet dude, but we're stacking up this Missouri-St. Louis pipeline here at LSU. We've got a comment here from our buddy Christopher Hall. What's up, Christopher? How you doing, my man? How's your Sunday? Christopher says, think everyone probably would agree that to transfer portal should not be open until after the bowl games. Yeah. Obviously, for smart reasons. It just becomes chaos, man. It just becomes chaos. I mean, it becomes great for someone like, say, me who wants to break that news. Oh, this guy's transferring here, and that guy's doing. But like last year, I think we probably broke the news of almost every single transfer that was either coming in or leaving. There was 4 or 5 stories that weren't ours, that were other people's, but definitively, especially if you were subscribed to this site, you know for a fact what we're saying is true. This is no brag. We have the dates, we have the information. Uh, those articles are there, haven't been touched. Like, you can see when it's been updated. It's all right there. Um, you can see the tweets that we posted ahead of time. Greg Brooks's transfer. I mean, it just goes on and on and on of the transfers that we broke last year, and the transfers leaving. Deion Smith as well was one that we broke leaving. But Jordan Tolles as well was another. Um, but in taking a step back from it as well, I can kind of see what a rat race it's become, because it's just like gotten so crazy. There's no rules at all to this. There's no structure. There's no law. There's no order to it. It's just crazy. It's strange. Like, why? How could the coaches not band together to say, let's change the rules on this? We need to band together to force the NCAA or whatever, whoever's going to be the governing body, is going to come out and do something about this finally, and say, hey, you have to have some structure, some limits to the portal. When the portal is going to be open, when the portal will be available, you've got to have it structured. Right now, it's all over the place. It's chaos. Even though they do have those limits, they do have those windows, it's still crazy. Especially because there's no penalties to the player of when they can leave, and all those penalties were just completely wiped away once COVID became a reality, and these players needed to leave that school right then and get home, in April, May, June of 2020, March. No one was really leaving anywhere in March until kind of later in the month. But still, it was panic time. It was craziness. And because of that, a lot of those rules were just thrown away. And instead of just kind of saying, now that, okay, we're back to normal here, like, let's kind of put the rules back in place, none of that's gone on. Everyone's getting those waivers. You can leave, go hop school to school to school. I mean, look at Eric Gilbert. How many schools has Eric Gilbert been to? How many schools? LSU. He committed to LSU. He committed to Florida. He committed to LSU. Played at LSU. Committed to Florida. Went to the Florida. Didn't go to the Florida campus, but I believe signed not just a letter of intent, but a few other documents for the Florida Gators. Decommits from Florida. Leaves for Florida. Brings from Florida. Goes to Georgia. Decommits from Georgia, but stays at Georgia. Doesn't play the entire national championship season. Recommits to Georgia, stays for the off season, looking pretty good, and then suddenly he's just gone again. Decommits from Georgia, and now he's entering the transfer portal. Eric Gilbert is the biggest reason why people look at it and go, I hate the portal. It's the worst thing about college football nowadays. And it's sad to hear, because I think the portal has done a lot of good for LSU. And I think the transfer portal has helped revitalize the quarterback room for LSU. It's helped up the game of the quarterbacks that we already currently have at LSU. Walker Howard, Garrett Nussmeier, they're going to be better quarterbacks because of Jaden Daniels being there. Whether they win the jobs or not, they're going to be better quarterbacks because of Jaden Daniels' his existence. You thought Miles Brennan would be a better quarterback because of Joe Burrow, but I think that was just too much of a shadow. I think that was too much intensity for Miles Brennan to take. And as we found in the end, Miles Brennan didn't really care that much about football. So, you see that the transfer portal giveth and it taketh away, baby. Um, LSU, let's look at the list right now. LSU have had some pretty big pieces of 2023's team who I thought would be main absolute dogs, not only on this team, but 2022's team, but for the future. Guys like Jack Besh, who fit the transfer portal. Just a stunning exit from Jack Besh going to TCU. That one was very. I think that one hurts the offense big time. I think it really does. I think it kills us with an option that a lot of people were just kind of selling short after the fumbles. Just because of the fumbles, they're just like, this player just completely wrote him off. Forgot that he, as a freshman, led the team in receptions and was an absolute dominant freak. Could not be handled or stopped by opponents. Who was, I believe, first or third among active receivers in the SEC as a freshman in forced tackles missed tackles forced. This was a player that LSU minimized this season. Only 23 targets Jack Besh's way. Kind of sad to see that. But when you go through the whole list, it's Besh, McGee, Demarius McGee, cornerback who never really got much work. 2 years at LSU. Ray Darius Jones, long history at LSU. 2019 national championship team veteran. But it was never to be for Ray Darius Jones. It was never, he never quite reached that, crossed that Rubicon. He never quite became that starting player. There was a few seasons where it was like, Ray Darius Jones is going to be the guy. Some people were kind of saying that and kind of chirping about Ray Darius Jones. And there was a spring game, I believe, where Ray Darius Jones either had one, maybe two interceptions. I believe that was the 2021 spring game with Coach O. So Ray Darius Jones had some moments, but every time he got on the field, which was very rare over his 4 or 5 seasons at LSU, didn't really work out for him. He was part of the 2019 freshman class that had Stingley, that had Jay Ward, Cordell Flott. So you had Stingley, Flott, Jay Ward, and Ray Darius Jones all out of that 2019 freshman class. Impressive class. Possibly 4 out of 5 guys there going into the NFL draft. Stingley, top first round pick. Flott in the NFL already. You could see Jay Ward in the NFL. Ray Darius Jones, I'm not so sure if you can see. Sorry, 3 out of 4, not 4 out of 5. I'm not sure if you'll see Ray Darius Jones consistently exist in the NFL. He could surprise me because that's the thing, is he's been practicing against LSU receivers. He could shock anybody. That's the thing with LSU players. When you're playing against the best, practicing against the best, even if your career at LSU kind of flames out, it wasn't, and you never deliver on your promise as a Tiger. Usually at the next level, those are players that coaches are like, yeah, but he's going to deliver on that promise here, now. And in the right environment, under the right coach, you've seen that happen for a lot of Tigers. Danielle Hunter, he never quite blew up as a Tiger. I believe he had injuries and other things off the field that were occurring. But once Hunter became a Minnesota Viking, he continued where he left off at LSU and just exploded. Just exploded into a Pro Bowl phenomenon. So, you've seen that with LSU players. LSU Tigers going into the NFL and becoming even better than they were at LSU. But it's weird. You got some offensive linemen who've left. Xavier Hill, Scooter Hill, who never quite got those opportunities. and we never quite understood where he was. What was his position? Was he a left tackle? Was he just, his regular position of guard? Was he a center? I mean, it was just always all over the place of who left. I mean, it's just, sorry. It was always a question of, where's he going to play? Is it going to be center? Is he going to stay at center? Is he going to randomly be a left tackle? Because we've seen him play left tackle at LSU in 2021. We saw him out there, and we saw some big time busts from him at left tackle. It was bad, and because of that, we never saw him again in the 2021 season, which was a damn shame because he's a very talented offensive lineman, very versatile. But you put him in a position where he's gonna fail. He's expected to fail, and when he does, it's like, okay, he's done. That to me is not okay. That to me is not okay, and that's why Coach O was a shitty coach and had to go. But as he did, we lost a lot of players. But here's the thing. Scooter Hill had an entire season with Coach Brian Kelly to show him that, and there was times where it looked like everything was going up for Scooter. It looked like, okay, Scooter's academically going to be one of the top players on the team, and then he's out there performing. He's probably going to steal one of these starting, guard spots over Frazier or Tremont Shorts. But in the end, no matter what we heard, it was always way off, and it was always Scooter was buried on the roster, really. And it's a shame because I think he has absolute raw talent. I think he's a fantastic player. I think I think he's a smart player as well. I just think LSU never quite found the right position for him, the right role for him. And I think because of that, he never really felt secure in any of his roles. Cam Wire, surprising he's going into the draft, into the portal and not the draft, because he's been playing for so long. It's crazy that he goes into the portal, but whatever. Cam Wire, he's been pretty damn disappointing as a Tiger, and it's sad that he couldn't turn that around. But for what we heard, all the hype we heard, for his athleticism, there were more busts than there were breakthroughs for Cam Wire, and that's a damn shame. Hopefully, wherever he lands next, Cam Wire will find that level. And then Marcus Dumervil. Marcus Dumervil has, he was someone who arrived at LSU late 2019, I believe, when we got this guy in the early signing day, and right as we're winning a national championship. There's so much buzz about Dumervil. He's going to be continuing that greatness in the offensive line that we're seeing in 2019. He's going to continue it. What a great signing from God, I can't remember our last James Craig, and James Craig doing work getting Marcus Dumervil, and then we never saw the best for Marcus Dumervil. We rarely saw Marcus Dumervil at all. Let me actually go through this. I'm going to find his count of snaps right here, because I've got it all right here. How many snaps did he have? Marcus Dumervil. Okay, Marcus Dumervil was 32nd on offense in snaps with 23. Marcus Dumervil had 23 snaps. He had the same. Sorry, not the most. He had the same as Gregory Clayton Jr., our punt and kick return. Dumervil had the same amount as Gregory Clayton Jr. A freshman, a true freshman, Emory Jones won that job out from Dumervil in that competition. Won it out from Cam Wire, from anyone who could have even tried to lay claim to that position. Made it his own by game 3, and the first SEC start was in the books. Forget about it. That right tackle position was Emory Jones. But trying to entice a few players to come on the live show right now. Sorry, my bad. Trying to make the content better, not trying to hide from the show or whatever. I'm trying to make the content better. I'm trying to make the show better for you, the viewer. But, it's Desmond Little in the trenches as well. We lost some defensive linemen. Desmond Little, was he ever going to explode as a player? Desmond Little at LSU. I think he was too undersized. I think he was too athletic and just too Desmond Little, really. He was too little to play in the SEC, I believe. That's why you saw him pick up some great sacks with his speed against gimme teams, because he was so much faster than them, they couldn't stop him, and he could pick up those sacks easily. But against some of the bigger teams, there was just never a question of why he shouldn't be on the field, because whenever you saw it, he was manhandling. So hopefully Little can put on the pounds, bulk up, and then understand that use your speed to get through offensive linemen. You don't always have to be evasive and get around them with moves and stuff. Sometimes you can just bulldoze through them and use your size. Tight end, you knew that. I shouldn't move on to tight end right now, because we still have defensive linemen to go through. Philip Webb. Philip Webb is a story we broke as well. That wasn't just even a subscriber article. That was everywhere. You can go look back at that. Philip Webb revealed that he had a concussion to us. Revealed that LSU considered him to be, an insurance liability, things like that. I'm not exactly sure what all was going on, because there was some stuff he was kind of just keeping close to the vest. He knew he'd already told me too much, is what I'm trying to say. And so with Philip Webb, it got kind of weird, because he was a really good player out of Georgia, Sugar Hill, Georgia. Unbelievable player. Athleticism, freakishness, just like BJ Ojulari. In many ways, many respects, same type of profile. Never popped at LSU. Whenever you saw him, he actually was getting after the quarterback, looked good, but it was just, you never, ever saw it. Defensive line, who else did we lose on the defensive line? I think those are only two, but, defensive line, we're also losing in the draft. We're losing to Quaylen Roy, who could have come back for another year. B.J. Ojulari could have come back for another year. Ali Gay, who's run out of eligibility. So that's 3 starters right there on the defensive line. And then 2 depth guys gone right there. That's 5 off the defensive line that we absolutely had to generate some type of. That's why you're seeing such a push in the transfer portal. And that's why you're seeing such a push for this 2023 recruiting class to sign the best defensive lineman that we can right now, because going into 2023, we might have a really strong starting four, starting three, starting four, maybe even five. But after that fifth guy, it falls off a cliff in depth and certainty. So LSU, you saw them going after guys in the portal. Um, you saw them get Jordan Jefferson. You saw them get Jalen Lee out of Florida, among others. I think it was 3 or 4 defensive linemen already through the portal. You've seen them going after Justin Rogers out of Kentucky. He just barely visited. And Justin Rogers is a player who could easily commit to the Tigers. I can see that. Because as we saw today, there were 2 guys who had no problem committing to the Tigers. Everyone knows, and everyone in the portal knows right now, that the team you go to is LSU. What other team has had more electric, more program defining success through the transfer portal than LSU? Name a team. Just name one team. I can't. Why is this Pellevier? I'm not even using it. Name one team. There isn't. Because besides just Joe Burrow, you got Jaden Daniels. You've got our top 2 quarterbacks who've had in rushing and just total yards in a single season being Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels, 2 transfer quarterbacks. That's incredible. That is incredible. So LSU being the king of the transfer world isn't really too far-fetched. One second. I mean, look at what we did at the DB position, too, the last few years. Just absolutely racking up defensive backs in the portal. And since Robert Steeples has come on, it's been almost like a mission from him to rebuild DBU each year while he kind of molds these freshman classes, these guys who are already here on roster. Sage Ryan, I believe, is probably about to have his breakthrough season after having kind of an up and down, tough type of season where you just kind of play through it and get through it and try and survive as a defensive back. Sorry. Got to fix that. And Sage, he wasn't credited with at least 4 or 5 pass breakups on the season and another forced fumble on Lsu against Alabama this year. And so he made so many plays left and right that I don't think he gets enough credit for. I know he had some busts as well, but some credit must also be due for his strong play as well. Some big time plays, and only the second LSU Tigers since Tyrann Mathieu to recover 2 fumbles in the same game. The other one was Jacoby Stevens in 2020. But when you look at LSU's DB future, yes, we've got some guys on roster. Sage Ryan, like we just said. LaTerrence Welch, who I really like his potential and pedigree. I really like Greg Brooks Jr. For next year. I think he had a bunch of busts this year, Greg Brooks Jr. Greg Brooks Jr. was picked on in coverage relentlessly. I'm not trying to pick on a guy, especially a guy who played the most snaps of anyone on defense, like by a wide margin outside of Mekhi Wingo, who also had over 800 snaps. But outside of those 2, there's a significant drop-off in snaps. Those guys played, they clocked the miles. And Greg Brooks Jr. was picked on religiously in coverage. Picked on left, right, center, it didn't matter. One of the worst coverage grades on the team. But here's the thing about him. Still had 2 interceptions. Still gutted it out. And then overall in the season, has the third best coverage grade out of anyone and only one coverage penalty. But look at this, 36 targets Gray Brooks Jr.'s way, 25 catches allowed, 195 yards. Okay. 3 forced incompletions, though. Did allow a long of 38, but his average depth of target only 5.9. So a lot of these are these short. A lot of the catches he's allowing are short catches, and then he's making that tackle afterwards because only 7.8 yards per catch. So they're making the catch, boom, but that does add up. 0 touchdowns allowed. That's the stat that's key to me. There's some plays where you can argue that, there's touchdowns that were assigned to Sage Ryan. There was a touchdown assigned to Sage Ryan that was quite clearly on Jay Ward this season. That I was like, what is Pro Football Focus doing? Like they've got such strong and capable statisticians. I don't understand those type of mistakes. Either way, LSU, we've got some pieces at defensive back, but once again, it's another season where we're having to reload. And so when you got guys like J.K. Johnson coming in, that's fantastic. But he wasn't the only one who came in for LSU today. J.K. Johnson was not, I repeat, was not alone. Darian Deuce Chestnut out of Syracuse has arrived, announces he's a Tiger this afternoon. I mean, 2 in 1 day from Robert Steeples. What a run from Robert Steeples the last 2-3 weeks. Javion Toviano, 5-star, commits to LSU, and then you get these two in the same damn day. I mean, we're going to work. Robert Steeples is going to work. And here's the thing, they're not done because they know that they need depth. They know that they need players. They know that they need talent. They've got a top freshman. But it's also about making sure we don't have another NFL draft departure in Jarek Bernard-Converse. I'm not sure if Jarek Bernard-Converse has announced whether he'll be going to the NFL or not. Let me ask someone real quick. I'm not sure if JBC is coming back, but it would be huge if we could get him to come back. We've gotten Greg Brooks Jr. to come back. I believe Joe Fuchsia is coming back. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Joe Fuchsia. Oh, yeah, Joe Fuchsia, he's exhausted all his eligibility. So, yeah, Joe Fuchsia is for sure in the NFL draft, 100%. So, Joe Fuchsia is a guy we're also going to lose as well. So, you're losing Joe Fuchsia at safety. You're losing a safety option with Jay Ward. You're losing a safety option, Todd Harris, who's graduated, but wasn't really much of an option in the last few years anyway, but a Tiger nonetheless. So Greg Brooks Jr. is definitely going to be starting for LSU in 2023. The question is, who's going to be his partner? Is it going to be the year where Sage Ryan finally says, I'm going to be that guy in that safety role next to him? Or are LSU going to need to go get a safety in the transfer portal? Because there's a certain guy from Kentucky who could come to LSU potentially. What might be his name? What might be his name? There's a certain Kentucky safety who might be looking to leave where he's going, and he might just come to LSU. Who knows? Kobe Albert, perhaps. We'll see. He's only been there one season. He's entering the transfer portal, and now could Kobe Albert be another DBU pickup? We've got some comments here. Poe English says, "Who would you take, Rogers or Lucas?" You know, and you're referring to you're referring to Anthony Lucas, right? From Texas A&M. Man, that's a good question, Poe. I'd have to say, let me see who's actually played more, because I know Anthony Lucas is a freshman, but let's see how many seasons Rogers has played at Kentucky. Yeah, he's a junior, so yeah, I would rather have the veteran. Okay, I'll be very clear on that. I'd rather have the veteran come in than the freshman, because here's the thing, man. We already have so many um, freshmen who are fantastic, and so many young defensive linemen who are fantastic, and guys of the future. Quincy Wiggins, Ty Hill, um, Savion Jones is going to be that guy who's going to be coming up next, and we're going to find out if he's going to be one of those guys. Like, we have a young defensive line. We need veteran leadership. Mason Smith, even though this will be his third season technically, this will only be his second year actually playing. So it's very strange. Mekhi Wingo is going to be like the veteran leader, and it'll be his junior season. So, like, very young defensive line. What we need is more veteran bodies there. So yeah, I would say that for sure we go with Rogers. Poe English says, anything on linebacker? What you mean? Just linebacker in general? Anything on linebacker? That's kind of a strange question. Just sorry. Beginner to expert pro HVAC says J.K. Johnson and Deuce. Yep. We've been talking about it. If you haven't heard our earlier ranting and ravings and your comments about J.K. Johnson and Deuce, definitely check that out. What's up, bro? Hey, what's up with you, my man? How you doing? I'm just chilling here on a Sunday. I'm just glad my boy, he's just like chilling here, like sleeping, staring at me, sitting there in his chair. Like, he is not bothered at all by a thing in the world. And he's letting me do my show. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I feel lucky to be able to do this show with you guys tonight. I'm really glad to be here. I feel really energized about where the site is going. Um, there's been some things that are going on for the website that are really going to change things for this year. Really going to change things about how I run my operations, how I do things, how I conduct myself, that I think needed to change. There's some things that internally about how this website is run that are already done. They're already fixed. They're already changed. That I think you're going to see the benefits of coming soon, especially you subscribers who have come to know the website and some of its ticks and and things. You're going to see a lot of those things really find some smooth landing and some smart updates. But as far as for the future, I think everything's looking peachy. I really love what's going on with the site. I really think that this was the biggest, baddest year for LSU Odyssey. Um, Once again, I am not such a brand guy that I'm like, you're LSU Odyssey, I'm gonna fight you, everyone else. Like I support so many other brands too. We've got so many other people on our show coming on. We've had so many media people. We've had Moscana, we've had Doucet, we've had Cody Warsham. We've had from so many different people come on this show from the media world. Um, Glenn Gilbo even. So that we're like equal opportunity. And you're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see a lot more faces, a lot more guests. You're going to see a lot more interaction between us, between the lovely LSU community and the LSU world. Because that's what we want, and that's what you want, and that's what's going to provide the best package of content. And that's the thing is, we're not going to ever change what we do here, but I love to update. I love to evolve. I love to get better at what I do. And I love doing what I do. I love writing and I love talking to you. I love doing videos like this. I love doing videos in my car driving around like crazy. Um, I love doing it. I love the grind of it. I love talking to recruits. I love talking to players, getting, you know, these relationships established that could last even a decade, if not longer, for the rest of our lives. Who knows? Some of these players, some of these families have become pretty much family as well. And that's why sometimes it does cut a little deep when some of these people leave and pass on from one school to the next or to the NFL. Um, but we have so much love for LSU, for the community, and for all of you, for your support and what you provide for me every day. The DMs you send me are always so nice and so thoughtful, and always people always very nice and extending the hand of friendship. Beginning to expert pro HVAC says driving around smoking your squares, smoking my squares. Do I need to look up lingo? Like, what does that mean? Squares lingo. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'm a smoker. What can I say? But you can tell how much I'm devoted to smoking when you see that like it's Sunday and 7 p.m. here and I haven't had one cigarette yet today. Like then that's not a lie. That's something I've been doing the last 5-6 years, and it's helped me chip away at the amount that I smoke. So it's been a process. It's been a process, but it's definitely gotten better, way better. Um, it's getting better all the time. But back to what we're talking about. Let's get back to the LSU stuff. Let's get away from me here. Linebacker is a position we already were aware that we were going to be thin as fuck at in 2023, right? We knew we were going to have Harold Perkins. We thought we were going to have Demario Tolan. We thought we were going to have we knew we were going to have Greg Penn the third. So we probably those three solid, right? Those threes are solid starters. Beyond that, just plenty of questions. Antoine Sampa, injury galore. Where was this guy going to fit in? When was this guy going to even be healthy to even practice? He's been out the transfer portal door. He's found a new school at Campbell University in North Carolina. Um, Love that young man. I absolutely have gotten to know Antoine Sampa and absolutely love that dude. He is awesome. He told us his whole injury story, and it's there on LSUOdyssey.com. If you just look in our exclusive interviews chapter right there at the top, um, That's the exclusive interviews portal. I'll just use the word portal from now on to describe everything. And then you got the search portal, the searching bar portal. If you ever want to find anything on LSUOdyssey.com, it's right there at the top. You just have to search the damn word of the name. It's right there. But we've even got it organized for you. We've got the categories laid out. We've got all the categories laid out for you right there. LSU 2022, LSU 2021, LSU 2020, LSU 2019, LSU 2018, Joe Burrow, Jack Besh, Brian Kelly, 2023 profiles, recruiting 2022. We've got it all going on up here. I mean, it's Jamar Chase. We even have a section for Eric Gilbert. That's how many articles we wrote on the damn dude. That's how much news was breaking about Eric Gilbert. He even required his own section. So, it's all there. It's all right there for you. And it's including with Antoine Sampa in that brilliant interview he gave us, because it's all his words. Really love what he said in that interview, in that article. But it's not just Antoine Sampa. Philip Webb could have also fulfilled a jack linebacker duty, and now we're also going to be losing Mike Jones Jr. And I'm not sure Mike Jones Jr. is going to be going to the NFL draft just right now. I think Mike Jones Jr. I'm not sure if there's been anything official. Not sure if there's anything that's been reported, but he will not be back at LSU. Yeah, he said, after the game, he said, "This is it." Jacques Doucet was filming him on the field, and he said, "Mike, is this it?" And he said, "I'm moving on, following the game. This is it. An old dog's last. This is an old dog's last walk around the park." This is the second school he's transferred to. He went to Clemson, won a national championship there, lost a national championship to us. Transferred to LSU, gets to an SEC title game under Kelly. He had an interesting career at LSU. Sacked Bryce Young last year, took part in that incredible defensive performance against Alabama that only allowed 6 rushing yards, suffocated and destroyed Bryce Young, left him dismembered and for dead, suckling for a breath of air that he could just narrowly find. LSU were just all over Alabama, and Mike Jones Jr.'s speed was a big part of that game. And LSU were supposed to have Mike Jones Jr. start for this team in 2022, right? Speaking for the club at the SEC Media Days, just like Jack Besh, another high-profile Tiger to hit the transfer portal. He was supposed to be that next linebacker in the making of LSU, the next brilliant linebacker at LSU. Instead, things went sideways. After he had 55 snaps against Florida State, and he had a few missed tackles that were pretty glaring. He was getting picked on in the receiving game. After that, he was gone. His snaps were cut drastically. And I mean drastically. He had fewer snaps in 2022 than he did even in 2021, I believe. That's sad. After what he expected, what you're coming into. Let's see here. He had 402 snaps last year. Only 207 snaps this season. After he had 50 snaps in week 1 against Florida State. 1 sack, 1 pressure, 3 missed tackles, 2 targets, 2 catches allowed for 36 yards. After these, after that first game, he went down to 18 snaps against Southern, 23 against Mississippi State, 16 snaps against New Mexico, 17 against Auburn, 30 snaps against Tennessee, 5 snaps for Mike Jones Jr. against Florida, 5 defensive snaps. UAB 12 snaps, and then Purdue 36. The snaps went up um, in the bowl game. I mean, just a shocker to see Mike Jones Jr.'s career at LSU kind of flame out right at the peak moment when you thought that Mike Jones Jr. was going to be that guy at LSU. It was very strange. So yeah, you got Tolan, you got Mike Jones Jr. who's going to be gone. You got Philip Webb, who could basically also be a linebacker/defensive lineman. Colby Fields out of South Carolina, transfers back home to come back to LSU and play back at home. And it never worked out for him. He stayed on special teams, had that horrible block in the back that took back that Jack Besh punt return. He just never played. He just never played for LSU. Let's literally go and look at how much Colby Fields played, because we can pull it up right here. Colby Fields had those are coverage grades, total snaps. 867 snaps for Greg Brooks Jr. 821 for Mekhi Wingo. Jeez, he never came off the field. Okay, let's see here. Colby Fields had 31 snaps. Fitz West played more than him. Quincy Wiggins played more than him. Xavier Carter, Desmond Little, Tyji Hill, Jordan Allen, LT Welch, even DeMario Tolan, they all played more snaps. Almost twice or quadruple, even more. I mean, Colby Fields just, I don't think he was undersized. He never quite took off, and I think he saw the portal and said, I'm out of here. It sucks because he could have been a project player. He could have been a playmaker at LSU. I think he could have been a playmaking linebacker at LSU. But instead, he didn't want to take the patience and take that ride and find out. It's sad to see him go, but, LSU. So LSU, Colby Fields, DeMario Tolan, Mike Jones Jr., Antoine Sampaw. 4 linebackers gone. 4 linebackers gone like that. And then you got a 5th in Micah Baskerville gone into the draft. 5 linebackers lost for LSU. 5 linebackers lost. How are they going to make up for that? LSU are going to be going after every linebacker in the country right now. If you took a breath last year and played college football, LSU were going to be trying to sign you to play linebacker here. Just joking. If you're an elite linebacker and you took a breath last year, LSU's coming for you. Let's say that. Let's say that. But amid of all of this, worries about where LSU are going, where LSU are headed, it was really great for LSU to get, Chestnut, DB corner out of Syracuse, 1 pick last year, 1 pass breakup. I know those aren't exciting numbers, but when you look at his coverage grade on Pro Football Focus, you get a little bit more excited. Let's take a look right here. On his name right. Two. It's only one T. Okay. Chestnut. Okay. Chestnut. 48 targets. 34 catches allowed. 356 yards. 150 after catch. Never more than 32 in one game. He allowed 4 touchdowns, though. Okay, 1 against Wake Forest, 2 against Florida State to Jordan Travis, and another one to Virginia. So against some of the better competitions, Chestnut did allow 4 touchdowns this season on some big plays. Um, yeah, 1 interception, 1 pass breakup, but he did have the 1 interception. A few 90s coverage grades, 96.7, 96.4. Like to see that. Looks like a pretty strong tackler in space as well. Chestnut did put up a lot better film than what this statistical menage is telling us. But no, and then J.K. Johnson, we already went through his stats as well. Maybe they weren't completely overwhelmingly brilliant, but what these players can do under Robert Steeples could be extremely exciting. Think about what Robert Steeples was able to do and elevate with Mekhi Garner, Jarek Bernard Converse, Greg Brooks Jr. Um, Even though Greg Brooks Jr. is a safety, he's also playing nickel. So you've got these guys who the roster was kind of all over the place from portal guys, and then random redshirt freshmen like Sage Ryan. Um, it was all over the place at DB. They had to find guys they could trust. Mekhi Garner was one of them, and then it would be kind of Colby Richardson at first. Right out of the gates, it was Colby Richardson, and then it took a while for Jarek Bernard Converse once he got back kind of fully healthy. But once he did, Jarek Bernard Converse was probably, outside of Mekhi Garner, the best corner on the team. I know people are going to give Jarek Bernard Converse the label as the best corner on the team. I think he might be the best DB, had the best DB season on the team in 2022, because he didn't just play corner, he played safety as well. So he did it all. And a lot of the times when he was playing that safety position, Mekhi Garner was having to really make some fantastic plays out there on an island. Who had a fantastic coverage season was Micah Baskerville. 9 pass breakups, led the team. And then he had 10 forced incompletions, which also led the team. And then he had a pick 6. Like, Micah Baskerville had a unbelievable coverage season for a linebacker. And that's another guy we're losing as well. Linebacker is a huge, huge, huge place of absolute necessity right now. LSU have to just start stacking the depth. Luckily, we've got Wit Weeks coming in next week as part of the early enrollees coming in. Who else? 2024 we got Debo. Love what he's going to be bringing. But as far as next season, Wit Weeks at linebacker, really, really, really interested to see. I think he's better player than West, his brother. West, had some moments this season, but I think there's times he's also a little cumbersome. I think Witt is a better athlete. I think Witt Weeks is a better linebacker. I think he just sees the game in an overall better fashion than West does. So I'm excited to see what he can do as a freshman. But Christian Braithwaite as well out of Cy Ranch, Texas. This is a player who I think Harold Perkins would be um, aware of, would be probably friends with from his time in that area in Texas. Um, and so you've got a few guys there. You got a few guys there coming in as well. And then linebackers, we've got it. We got Braden Swinson, who came in on the edge. Paris Shand at defensive, end as well. Jalen Lee, defensive line as well. So you've got Jordan Jefferson as well at defensive line. 4 defensive line guys coming from the portal. You got Dylan Carpenter, 5th defensive lineman guy coming in. This is a young man who's a freshman as well, though. You got Deshaun Womack, another edge guy, 6. Jackson Howard, that's 7. So you got 7 defensive linemen. Eventually 8 is what I've heard. Actually, more like 9 coming in the next little bit to replace who we've lost. But as far as replacing the 5 linebackers we've lost, we just have Whit Weeks, Christian Braithwaite. It's those 2 right there. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We got Whit Weeks, Christian Braithwaite to replace Micah Baskerville, Colby Fields, Antoine Sampaw, Demario Tolan. I mean, that's kind of a damn tall task. It's LSU right now have to go full bore on any transfers in the line, any transfer linebackers. Third ranked, number 3 rated transfer class right now in the entire country, behind Florida State and Colorado, but the number 3. We got 6 4-stars who've joined with us. 6 4-stars. Jacoby Albert, linebacker, safety. Could definitely see him coming to LSU. You know, I'm looking through some of these names. Jacoby Albert for me is someone who seems like, think about it this way. Who has Kentucky ties on our coaching staff? Matt House, our defensive coordinator, anyone? There's someone helping him out here, I think. I think you're going to see Jacoby Albert be that hybrid linebacker veteran coming in for next year. That's the thing, is that's what's funny. Veteran after only a single season. That's how young our linebacking core is, though, with Harold Perkins being a veteran after 1 year as well. Greg Penn III, he'll be the old guy. This will be Greg Penn III's 3rd season. Jevin Banks, He's an edge guy. No. That's the thing is you're not seeing really any quality out there. Linebacker. You don't really see much quality outside of Kobe Albert, and he's been playing, you know, random different positions from safety, linebacker, back and forth. And a lot of these top guys have already taken their spot. Justin Wright, he's already gone to OSU. Jake Heimlicher, he went to UCLA. Nick Jackson, interesting. Nick Jackson could be someone that LSU look at. Oh man, wow. Mario Tolan, not a Florida school, but Auburn. That's didn't see that one coming. And actually, I did think about that. He had such a strong relationship with Auburn. Yeah, that makes sense. Everybody, I've probably ridden my luck here um, with this baby being out. This is hilarious that he's actually slept this long. Um, but we're going to have a lot more information coming for you in the coming days on LSUOdyssey.com. We're going to have a lot more. And, we've got some videos coming together. We've got some interviews coming together. We've got some really in-depth pieces we've been working on for quite some time. We've got something about the transfer portal, about each one of these transfers coming in, but we just have to keep adding it to it. So it's taken a little bit longer to get through, but once we get these new guys in the next day, that article will be done. That is going to be a lengthy thing where anything you want to know about any one of these guys, it's a perfect guide. And it's not just for the next few days. You can use that for the whole rest of the season. Is, oh wait, how many tackles did he have coming into this year? Oh yeah, he had 19. It'll have everything right there. Um, and we're really excited about what's coming forward. There's going to be a few surprises in the works that I've been told I cannot say a word about. I cannot say a thing about. But I am more than overjoyed to share the news with you when it comes. I am more than overjoyed to see maybe the look on a few people's faces when the news is unfurled. I'm more than excited to see where this new direction takes my family and what I'm doing with this career. I'm really excited to be working with these new people. I'm really excited to be really excited to be alive. This is a great time. Sometimes you look at everything on the news and everything doesn't seem too good. You're not really too proud of what's going on in the human race, but there's every once in a while outside of your family, you do realize that there's way more that's going on, and God is great. But really, I'm ever since the last probably decade or so when I kind of turned a few things around and started living a different way. That's kind of when I started seeing more of the light in things anyway. And so I kind of try and live my life like that, like where try and live like James Bond, where like James Bond, like a bomb's going off behind him, and he's like fixing his damn tie and yes, get to the Aston Martin. Yes, put on the jetpack, get it on. Oh shit, there's our job. Like Jaws. Like Money Penny. Like I just love James Bond, and just the way he approached life was, I'm not gonna let it make me sweat. I'm not gonna let it make me freak out. And I think the approach to LSUOdyssey.com has always been that we are not afraid to talk to anybody. We're not afraid to be in the room to anybody. And you've seen us do that with everyone from Brian Kelly to Glenn Gilbo. We've talked to everybody that's willing to talk to us. And we've had a hell of a time doing this. And this next sector, this next phase, is going to basically be like an injection of steroids into what we've been doing. This has taken a lot of planning, a lot of strategic thought, and I think you'll see, we haven't been kicking out the articles as much as we usually do on LSUOdyssey.com the last couple weeks. And maybe people think we're taking a New Year's holiday or something, but actually we've been working on this. And so it took a lot of things to be paused and kind of just like, this is the priority because this is going to extend this, not writing like 10 articles about, breaking news every single second, that type of thing. So everything is fallen back into place now. And you're going to see us wrap our arms around the world of LSU and give you a big old hug and say, come to Papa, bring it home. This is where the real shit is. Everybody, have an amazing Sunday. Hug those you love those you hug, and go Tigers, baby. LSUOdyssey.com is always going to be your place for the best content possible. Just no one can come close, right? Follow us there on Twitter, right there at Lon Phillips. Join our Facebook club as well, LSUOdyssey.com. It's right there. We have over 1,000 members, 1,000 likes now. Things are growing, things are rising, and like I said just a bit ago, there's news I cannot wait to share with you. It's been in the works for quite some time. It's been something that's taken a lot of steps and a lot of like communication and going back to the well and figuring it out, but the jigsaw has fallen into place. Thank you. Love you. Peace out.